Let me see this. Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry we couldn't. We got Malik Rosier, former Miami Hurricane quarterback. Canes and FSU Saturday night, 7:30 on ABC. Joins me for a few minutes. Malik, thanks for coming on, man.
Nah, thanks for having me. I always love being on with you.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't get you on with Coolhane, but yeah, the thing I look at right away is how FSU is going to be dangerous coming into this game. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, they're super explosive. I know that they have some, world-class sprinters on their receiver side. I think that their ability to create explosion plays, along with Gus Malzahn's ability to create misdirection, is going to be a lot of hard to deal with. Being from Alabama, Malzahn was at Auburn for a while, so I got to see years of his offense kind of work out and be very functional. So, I think that he is going to instill confidence. I think they are going to have some explosive plays. I think the biggest thing is to have the mindset of, hey, we can give up some plays, but let's not give up touchdowns. Let's not give up, explosive plays for touchdowns. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be the biggest test our defensive backs have had all year, at least speed-wise.
Yeah, I look at this team, Malik. I know we can bully FSU's line, but I talked to Jeff. He said, basing on the recency bias from last week against Virginia, I know we can run on these guys. What are you thinking on that?
Yeah, of course. It was funny. Tommy Castellona said something, or Thomas Castellona said something about, he thinks that, both sides are about the same. And I think that he hasn't watched enough film. It's not the same, and it won't be on Saturday. I think, especially when you give us an extra week of rest, you give these guys, time to get their legs underneath them after, playing USF, Notre Dame, and Florida. I mean, two of the three teams I just named, or if today was to drop, would be in the college playoffs. So, again, I think that you give them very good talent that they play. It's not like we have played, no knock to them, like Bethune-Cookman and FAMU and Kent State, right? Teams that like Florida State has played. So I think that in a lot of ways, Tommy hasn't played a defense like ours all year yet.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. We know we came off the bye week. We took over against Florida in the second half. They were too much we were too much for them. Hold on, I want to pull up something here. Hold on a minute. I gotta do a better job of this. Hold on. Here we go. Here we are. Cool. Yeah, the thing I look at, Malik, what are going to be your keys to the game against Florida State?
Yeah, number one, limiting explosion touchdowns, right? Like, again, we talked about earlier, they're going to have explosion plays. I mean, they're a very athletic offense. They have guys on there that can obviously run. So for me to say, hey, for 4 quarters, they're not going to have at least, a couple explosion plays, that's crazy. But last year, and I think this is the biggest thing that's happened this year, last year when a guy was in open field, he made a guy miss and his forehead hit the goalpost. This year, we're making a lot more open field tackles. We're gang tackling. There's 5 or 6 guys around the ball.
Yes.
To me, I think you got to keep that part up, right? There's going to be times where a 3rd and 3 is going to come down to our corner tackling their slot guy in open field. You got to make that tackle. So again, I think that's going to be one. And then secondly, to me, it's going to be like our offense has established to run. Right, lean on those guys, make them one-dimensional. And what I mean by that is on defense, right? When teams become one-dimensional on defense, a lot of times they go to single high. You're going to see a lot of cover 1, cover 3. A lot of times teams can't stay in that too high kind of shell just because of how dominant the run game gets. So if you make Florida State stay in 1 high, to me, that allows young guys to understand what they're supposed to do, because in Dawson's offense, there's a lot of nuance based on coverages of how you run your route. And then secondly, it makes it very easy for pass plays that we like in single high.
Oh, yeah, no question about that. Got to ask you this next one here. The one thing we cannot do, Malik, in this game, obviously, is we can't turn the ball over, especially in a hostile environment, because last year at Georgia, 7 of the next 13 picks were on the road. How are we going to limit that? How does he limit that in this game?
Yeah, I think one is just keep being yourself. These games I hate the most playing quarterback, specifically because everyone tells you what you should do. Everyone tells you what they would do. Everyone's going to tell you how you should play. Right. And at the end of the day, man, I very much believe in Carson. I think he is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I would say keep being yourself, keep leading the way you're leading. Obviously, this is your first road test with this team, right? He played road games at Georgia, played in a lot of big stadiums, but teams are different. Teams respond differently. So to me, it's just stay consistent. You know, if the big plays are there, take it. If not, check it down and let your athletes eat because they've been eating for you all.
The thing I looked at when I watched Florida State Virginia last week is how their Virginia's quarterback, how their defense got to Virginia's quarterback. What do you expect from Beck in this game when you saw the interceptions?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. They played some weird coverages versus Virginia at first. You watched the first play; they only had 3 down linemen.
Yeah,
right. I don't expect them versus us to have 3. I was saying on, whose show was it? Oh man, he does Alex Dono. I was talking to Dono.
Yeah, we're talking to Dono
right.
I
was
today.
like, yeah, and I was like, I could expect play 1 for them to come down in 5 down linemen. Them really committing to the run and saying, hey, we're going to not let you guys run the ball, and we are going to make you guys throw these young guys. So I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of what defense they play coming out. But I do agree with you. They did a good job of getting after Virginia's quarterback. I will say that Virginia had 2, probably 3, if I'm 100% sure. Pretty sure they had 3 offensive line missing, right? We got all of our guys healthy. We have a very good offensive line. Now, again, will they create some pressures? Yes, but do I think that they'll get after Carson the way that they got after UVA's quarterback? I don't. I just don't see it with a healthy offensive line like we have.
No, with our offensive line, we should just maul this line, retire them out in the second half. But the thing is, we cannot fall behind early, not with that crowd up there.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily worried about falling behind early to a sense. To me, it's more of why are we behind, right? Is kind of like you said earlier, are we behind because of turnovers? Are we behind because we have holdings and pass interferences? And is it penalties that are kind of rigging us? Because to me, you go back and watch the first quarter of the UVA-Florida State game, UVA wasn't beating Florida State. Florida State was beating themselves.
Yeah.
They couldn't stay on the field.
That's what Jeff Colhan said.
So, yeah, and to me, like I said, right, Florida State, they're a good team. They're a good offense. So to me, if it's like 10-7 going into the second quarter, maybe they got the ball first, right? But every time we've touched the ball, we've driven it down the field. I'm not going to be nervous about being behind. I'm only going to be nervous about being behind if first drive is a 3-and-out, second drive is a pick, the third drive we have 3 or 4 penalties. Then I'm like, okay, these guys aren't ready for a road game. The pressure's getting to. So to me, it's more of how they respond and why we're down, not just saying, hey, we're down. Because, again, Florida State's a good team. They are physical. You can go back and watch them versus Alabama, even though I do think that Alabama is
I talked about the Alabama game a little bit.
Yeah,
the tape I would want to watch if I'm Heatherman this week.
Yeah, but it's hard, though, because that Alabama team is the same. I think week 1, just like a lot of teams, right, no one really knows what they got. You're kind of filling out, hey, how are guys going to play? I will say that I think I don't want to say Florida State I don't want to say Alabama would beat Florida State right now, but I think if they played this week, Alabama would give Florida State a lot closer of a game to beating them than what they did week 1.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Wait, I was impressed the way Alabama last beat Georgia on the road.
Yeah, they beat Georgia on the road, and again, I think one thing that Florida State at least has is they're very confident at home, right? They beat Alabama, and so again, I'm excited for this game. I hope all the Canes fans come out. I think this is going to be one that we remember for a very, very long time.
I asked Jeff this question. I'll ask it of you. We've heard about the star players. Who's a much less heralded player for us that can have a massive impact in this game?
I feel like it's hard. I mean, I think he has to show out. I think it's Elijah Lofton.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a ton of eyes on our running back field. Obviously, ton of eyes on Tony and CJ. I mean, CJ Daniels week 1 had the
I was there.
Yeah, it was a crazy catch, right? So all this attention on the skill position, but to me, the one that is like, he's talented, is there, but he hasn't had his breakout game. To me, has been locked in, and I'm hoping that this game, especially with some of the red zone matchups, especially with again their outside corners are pretty good, right? So having that matchup at tight end is something that I think Carson wants, and I think that if there's going to be a game where Elijah Lofton can make a stamp very early in the season, I think this game is going to be one.
Yeah. Another thing I looked at, Malik, when I watched the game is the 2 touchdowns they scored early in the first quarter, early in the game were Wildcats. How are we preparing for that? I need to be sure that's in the film room this week.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely added stuff for it. Sometimes the problem is, and offenses do this, well, they'll have something for one week that they know for a fact they're not going to run the next. But all it does is it adds more work for the defensive coordinator, right? So if I know, hey, versus Miami, we can't run Wildcat.
No.
But what happens is, I bet you there was a period or two for our defense where they practiced nothing but Wildcat. So now you're taking time away from them focusing on the main kind of offense. Now, again, they could run it. I think that we'll definitely have a plan for it. I think Mario's smart enough to have a plan for it. But some of the mental battles that OCs and DCs do is they'll literally install a formation. They can even go unbalanced, right? And they're saying, hey, we're only going to run this versus this team, knowing that next week, whoever we play has a game plan for it, and we're never going to run it again, right? So that to me is going to be interesting. I do think that you got to have a game plan for it, because I could see with the success that it had last week, if they at least try it once, saying, hey, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? But I also don't think that, Florida State's going to run that play.
Yeah, no question.
I think you might get 2 to 3 times throughout the whole entire day.
Yeah, the thing I watch, another thing, what do you have a good feeling how this is going to shake out? And give me your reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I think the first quarter is probably going to be low scoring. I think both teams are going to kind of fill each other out. I think you're going to see defenses fly around. I know for our side for sure, and I don't know how FSU is going to come out. They can come out pass heavy first, run heavy, whatever they want to do. But I know for us, the first play of the game is probably going to be a run. If it's not a run, it's going to be an RPO. So we're going to hit you in the mouth on the first play. Right, so I can definitely see first quarter, even halfway through the second, being low. But I definitely see that second half, us kind of turning up. I think it'll be interesting to see if they score, but I do believe towards that third, fourth quarter, I don't see them being able to stop the offense. We do a great job of rotating different offensive linemen in. So a lot of times the offensive linemen are fresh, just like the defensive line. So it's not like for us, we got offensive linemen by the fourth quarter where their legs are shot, right? We have offensive linemen, they're fresh, semi, right? They've been kind of in and out, and they have the ability to really lean on guys late in the fourth quarter.
I think Malik, it's going to come down, like I said, to the fourth quarter. I think we can wear them down. I think we can wear down this defense. We just can't let them get in the rhythm. We just gotta punch them in the mouth early.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to say it's reserved, but one of my biggest things right now that I really want to see is if at some point, if we have our foot on their neck, I literally want to break their neck. I don't want to just keep it there, right? I feel like offensively, and again, I know
before the Florida game, you understand that.
Yeah, and it's like you're up and you play passive, but it's like when you play a team like Florida State, when you play some of these teams, and I mean, if we're blessed enough to go to the college football playoffs, it's going to happen there, where there will be certain offenses that if you do not keep scoring in a blink of an eye, they will have 14 points on the board. They will go touchdown, and you're in a ball game because you're playing not to lose. Instead of saying, hey, we're up, I'm about to put my cleat right through your throat. So to me, I think that's where I really want to see that, right? And I don't mind the run calling. I don't mind that, but I feel like sometimes it's just like, hey, we're just going to try to eat the clock up. Hey, let's try to run as much time. Let's have these big 8-10-minute drives where I'm like, hey, I don't mind the big drives. Let's still take some shots. Let's still show them, hey, we're going to be aggressive.
That was my main complaint last 2 weeks ago against Florida. Why didn't we take the big shot?
Yeah, and again, you don't want to take it to a cinch too much, because the big shots come with their low percentage throws, right? Secondly, the time doesn't run off. So if you throw a big post and you miss it, it's only eating up 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Opposed to me running the ball, I get 4 yards, but I've eaten up 28 seconds, right? So there's a pros and cons, but to me, it's just like, I don't want it to be run, 3rd and 3, and then we got to basically put everything on Carson. Hey, we need you on a 3rd and 3 to bail us out. No, give him a first down, easy pass where it's arrow or spot or match. Then 2nd and 4, you run it. Now you give him 2 chances to throw where it's like, you're still playing smart football with high percentage pass plays, quick game, things like that. But you're still not saying, hey, man, if you mess around and give us cover one, we got to go on the outside and we're going to take it. Right. So I think there's a difference between calling shot plays and still having high percentage pass plays with a shot kind of built into it.
Yeah, I think so too. Malik, I'm going to get you out of here on this. What's the best way for listeners to connect with you or follow your work, and what final thoughts you want to leave the audience with tonight?
Yeah, so follow me on Twitter. It's Malik Rosier 12. Pretty sure it's Malik_Rosier 12. Also, if you guys are going to be in town on Friday for the Miami-Tallahassee game, I know on Friday I'll be at Potbelly's a little bit. There's some stuff going on with, and I don't know how much you guys like them, Nevin Shapiro, and some other guys, some Miami and Florida State guys are going to be there. Alumni is going to be there. I'm pretty sure Beeson or someone from the Miami side is going to be there. Be kind of cool. Later on that night, I'm actually going to be at a venue called Pockets. It's Pockets Pool and Bar. Both venues are my family owned, so just know obviously there's alcohol. We'll have things like that, but it's very pro Canes. Obviously, there will be some Florida State people there because it is Tallahassee. We do have some good connections with Florida State through our venues. But again, it is Miami friendly. You don't have to worry about people testing you or bumping you, especially with alcohol. Or whenever you want to come up there, have fun, drink as much as you want to drink, and also obviously stay safe.
Hey, Malik, thank you so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the trip to Tallahassee. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you. The Canes.
Thank you. Yes, stay in the stream. Hey,